because I have an esteemed guest in studio again, for which I give great kudos and thanks to Mr. A.K. Kamara.
Hey, thanks for having me back. It was a fantastic time. Great conversation. Last time I came back was on the first time, and now that I've come back, I'm excited to see what we talk about. And I like honestly, one of the things that I love the most is when I go on a show and there's like, oh, we didn't sit and say, here's the topics we're going to talk about. It's like let's just let it come out of our mouths, out of our brain, of what we're actually thinking about. I don't know if anyone's coined this term, and I'm going to try and coin it. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it will stick, but popcon, and that to me alludes that there's this populist sentiment. I still think that there's a conservative cornerstone, but there's this populist sentiment. So when it comes to things like unions, right? The right growing up for me of what you would read about Reagan and about H.W. Bush is that unions are a bad thing, right? Because you don't want collective organizing, not good. Whereas popcons are like, hey, unions aren't a terrible thing. Now, maybe not government unions, but private corporations and smaller businesses that want to unionize, that's not a bad thing. When you talk about entitlement programs, again, it's like if you have means testing, that entitlement programs in general are just not a bad thing. Whereas there were definitely a time when Republicans were like, cut all the welfare programs down to zero. Whereas popcons are like, hey, there are certain programs that we should have. And that's why President Trump says, I'm not going to touch Medicare. I'm not going to touch Medicaid. And he's very adamant about that. So I just think that there is this changing of the guard, and it's messy when you're living through it. It's one thing to read about it, but you got to understand that what's happening is the current power structure, people that are elected are going to be displaced. There's nothing that will stop it. Now, the question is, when is it going to happen? I think it's happening right now. You're starting to see this change of the guard. And when that happens, those in power have a tendency to want to keep power. It doesn't mean that they're an evil person, but people, when they get power, are like, I'm not going to let this go. Now, every once in a while, you might have someone who says, morally, this is what the people want. I'm willing to take a bow, exit stage left. But there are so many people that would rather dig their claws in and say, I'm never leaving this. And you have to rip them from their perch. But the people will eventually get what they want. And that's what humanity has taught us if you look back through various iterations of civilization.